about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Well, thank you for your patience. And we thank you, everyone, for being with us for this edition of The Struggle is Real, The Struggle Continues. Bring your camera down a little bit so your face is in the middle, Brother Eddie. And we're thankful. Bring your camera so you like in the middle of the shot. I want to thank you
Let's
so
see
much.
what I can do here.
Hillman. It's been
How's
one
that?
of those seasons. Yes, sir. You look good. One of those seasons when a lot is happening. We were in our state meeting in Macon. We had candidates this afternoon, statewide and federal. And we went over a little time, so my apologies to my co-host and to, I guess, my partner in crime and co-host, and to you, Ms. Hillman, our sister in the work, because you're definitely doing the work. Let me cut right to the chase because you had an experience I think is very appropriate for this season that we're in terms of this election cycle. So if you could reflect and talk about, I'm gonna see if I can pull up that particular image and share the screen of the event that you saw. I looked at it on the looked it up and saw the trailer and uh, Vigilante, I think it was called. So please talk to
Yes.
us about what you saw and your impressions and some of the work, the important work that you're doing. Thank you so much for being with us. And introduce yourself if you don't mind.
Certainly. My name is Debbie Hillman, and I consider myself a born and raised
Uh-oh.
Newton County community advocate
All right.
that have been fortunate enough to start my work right there in Covington,
Mm-hmm.
but not been limited to Covington.
Mm.
Covington has been an awesome stomping ground, a launching pad, and we have work to do.
Mm.
Last night, I had an opportunity to do a screening of the movie Vigilante.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, those of us who attended were able to receive a QR code that will allow
Wow.
us to share this with others.
Oh
So
my
I would
God.
love to
Oh my
share
goodness.
this in
Oh
Newton County.
my
The
goodness.
goal is to try to get it out to as many people as possible between now and the election. Vigilante is a documentary that was done by a gentleman who is American, white American, but was spent lots of time in London working with the BBC. Did some work on getting out information and said that he thought that after he produced the documentary on the best democracy that money
Money
can
can
buy.
buy.
Yes.
Right.
In fact, he gave us all copies of that DVD last night
Wow.
and said that he thought things would be over. But unfortunately, as the story often goes, this was clearly not over at that time. And so he came back in 2018 and then 20. And now Greg is working on 2022 and talked about what voter suppression looks like. He revealed some things that none of us in the audience knew. Brought voter suppression to life. There was a gentleman there who is in the military and was denied the right to vote because of that voting challenge. Some man, a random man, decided that he didn't live here Well, in fact, the gentleman Gregory decided that he would interview this gentleman in a home. And when you looked at the house, you looked around the mantelpiece, you saw pictures of Black people. Well, guess what? This was his first time in the home. It was not the first time that the gentleman who had been challenged was there, because guess what? It was his home.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had an opportunity to share this information. That gentleman and his family were there last night. Well, we learned some interesting things about Brian Kemp. You know, Brian Kemp tells the story of being the self-made man, small businessman, made it. That's not exactly true. In fact, the research shows that his family was one of the first to bring slaves to the
Wow.
state of Georgia.
Wow.
The company that he owns partners with people with lots of money. We've heard of the Koch brothers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
behind a truck yesterday.
the trees that Brian Kemp produces are used to create that toilet paper that the Koch family sells
Mm-hmm.
to each of us. And so it was an amazing experience. We had people there like Attorney Gerald Briggs, who's the new state president of the NAACP. We had Helen Butler from the People's Agenda, the former attorney for Jesse Jackson was there,
It's the
C.K.
trees he's
Hawthorne.
helped to cut down. These are the
Yes,
trees he's helped to cut
those are
down.
the trees.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just an amazing experience and very telling, very much a reason to fight on, a reason to let people know that who you think he is, and it's not a partisan film at all. It's a film about truth to power. Park Cannon was there, the representative who was taken to jail because she knocked on the door when the Bill 202 was signed. She was taken to jail. And one of the things that was interesting was all the people that have been taken to jail, have been called out, who've been challenged. None of those things have borne out. None of those things have been found to be true. And so it is important that we understand that we are under attack. It's important that we do not allow them to win, but rather that we keep fighting. We fight harder. That we say, you know what? You may try to suppress our votes, but it's not the first fight for us. It won't be our last fight, unfortunately.
That's right. That's right.
The struggle truly continues. And as the struggle continues, we have to stay in the fight. You know, one of the things we've talked about is that with Senate Bill 202, it came out after we showed out and showed up in January of 2021. Well, what do we, there's something about our vote that people want. When you listen to what's going on the airways, when you listen to the stories that are being told, it is critical. I mean, we are in the ICU, but guess what? Not everybody that leaves the ICU goes to the morgue. There are a whole lot of
My.
people whose test of being in the ICU creates a testimony that brings others to church
Mm-hmm.
on Sunday morning that weren't there last week.
All right. That's it. That's it. Now, listen, I know you got just a couple minutes left because I know you gospel preacher. You have the gift of saying it like it is. I don't want you to be late for your meeting, but I do want to thank you so much for your patience. And I'm so glad um, now, St. Paul would love to host it. If there's no other place that will host it, we'd love to host the airing of this, of the documentary, if you like. I'm going on record right now saying we would love to host it. We just tell us when, if no one else will do it. Or even if someone else will do it, I want to be among the first to offer our. I mean, you can have it in several places. I mean, it doesn't have to just be one
Mm-hmm.
place. In fact, we have it on Zoom. If you're able to share it, I mean, hundreds of people can watch it, in a hybrid type of situation. So I would love to be able to be a part of that premiere, and because we do need to get this, and I know the Bishop Jackson would love to probably get this out. I would love to be able to put this somewhere in his sphere of awareness. He probably knows about it, and 'cause we're in Macon now, but and he wasn't at the premiere like you were, but I'm sure he would love to be able to put this through the sixth district. We're doing various efforts around the district throughout the south and southeast part of our state, as we believe that's going to actually, you know, encourage the vote in those areas throughout the south and southeast and southwest area. We're going to win, and we're going to
Mm-hmm.
overcome these obstacles. Um, and the reason why they're on the defense is because we're on the offense. And we need to realize that we are on the offense and stop acting like we are
Mm-hmm.
on the defense. We're not. We need to flip the script in our own
Exactly.
mind, our own thinking, and do exactly what you're doing, inform ourselves and continue to engage ourselves in these kinds of conversations and engagement. So please, Ms. Hillman, please let us know what we can do.
Definitely.
And Brother Eddie is the boss over there. So if he says, let's make it happen, it's going to
Please
happen.
do.
We're going to
Please
do
do.
it.
I'm interested to see the whole thing because I just seen bits and pieces that he was showing just
I'm
then.
going to show the
That was
trailer.
very interesting. I like to see the whole thing, so I'm
I'm going to show the
interested. I like.
trailer after you. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I wanted to give you full carte blanche, Miss Hillman. So I know you have to go, but when you log off, I'm going to show the trailer, and so as to kind of help people see exactly what you saw and is talking about, and then we'll look forward to whenever the date we can set up within the next week or so, or a couple of weeks, set up a series of screenings because this needs to go out. Oh my gosh. I
Definitely.
looked at that trailer. It made me so upset. I don't know what to
Trailer.
do.
You get me excited. Trailer. What is this?
Yes, yes.
It
We're in this
takes you
room.
to what it does is it shows you what was and what is.
Yes,
You're able to see families who have been involved in the struggle forever,
right.
who are now generation after generation
Mm-hmm.
still aware, still woke,
Mm.
still being called upon, still being challenged, and recognizing that we can't stop now. Our foreparents didn't stop,
Right.
and they had dogs running
Whoa.
behind them.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
We don't have any dogs biting us.
Mm-hmm.
We have some people exhibiting some dog-like behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is critical,
That's right.
and
That's
I
right.
can't say that word enough,
That's it.
critical,
Critical.
that we find ourselves in the struggle we have right now. Today is Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday, less than a week from now, is the last day to register to vote.
Yes, ma'am.
If everyone would reach out to a minimum of 5 people
Mm-hmm.
and say, are you registered? Are you sure?
That's it.
Because one of the tactics that's being used over and over again is purging votes.
Yes.
Saying that people don't live where they live.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that people are no longer in Georgia.
Mm.
And just all kinds of just
Yes. Yeah.
lunacy.
Just
He's just reaching for anything they can get.
say what?
Just reaching for straws.
Yeah.
And
Bishop
one
Jackson
of the
mentioned.
things that a gentleman said on the film was, in the old days, our parents said there's a dead cat on the line somewhere.
Mm.
The dead cats are still out there, and it's still our responsibility, because we aren't taking the jelly bean in a jar test anymore.
Right.
But there's a different jelly bean in a jar test.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in addition to registering people to vote, we need to reach out to people and say, are you sure that you are
Your
still
status.
registered as
Right.
an active voter?
Right.
So if everyone does that over the next few days, then we will not leave any vote on the table.
Absolutely. And this is not the time to be reticent or unaware. And it's a time for everybody who's able-bodied and of age. I know one of the challenges, one of the tables we see here is the table to inform and encourage the participation of African American males. That has been a key component that I think has been disenfranchised by many different filters. And one is definitely, all of them are systemic. One in particular is, of course, hyper incarceration,
Mm-hmm.
and the way that we are being bullied and murdered and shot and intimidated, and the way that our records are being held against us. And when we try to actually go vote, then there's some type of penalty or other type of issue that's flagged about our participation. One of the pictures that I saw was where actual voters were arrested, people arrested for voting. I have never heard that before in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Arrested for voting. They were told, these brothers and sisters in Florida were told they could vote. They got the record, and the state sent validated information to confirm that they were registered to vote. They went to the polls based on that state confirmation, voted, and then was summarily and publicly round up and arrested for voting, and put on the newspaper, pictures in the newspaper, just to send out a message of
message.
Mm-hmm.
That is the ultimate voter suppression.
I've never heard of it.
Because if you think about Johnny, who's not real excited about voting anyway.
Oh yeah, he's definitely not now.
Who already feels that he doesn't count, his vote won't count.
Yep.
All it takes is the mention of some people who voted, who attempted to vote,
right,
who were taken to jail or threatened with jail.
That's it.
Johnny's not going.
That's it.
And that's an ignorance of the law
Mm-hmm.
is sometimes the only weapon that the oppressor needs.
That's it.
Because if they say, well, didn't you go to jail?
My.
They don't understand that most of the people in jail are not felons.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
right.
so you may have been to jail, but what did that look like?
Mm.
And so just asking those questions, bringing those questions, going to the streets,
Mm-hmm.
going to, over the next month, we have work to do.
Oh
Because
yeah.
once
Oh yeah.
we make
Definitely
sure
want
that
it.
everybody's registered,
Yeah.
we have to then turn those registrations
Mm-hmm.
into voting records.
Right. And the votes. It's
So,
actually votes.
so that you are actually mobilized,
That's it.
not just that you can vote, but that you do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
we want to get as many people as possible out to the polls during early voting,
Mm-hmm.
which begins on October 17th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On election day, November 8th, anything may happen.
Now
So
let me
we
say.
are not
So,
going to wait around
that's it.
until November 8th. And
Right.
then on November 9th, saying there was something I was supposed to do
Oh
yesterday.
Lord, nope, nope. So what Bishop Jackson has done has mandated and encouraged everybody who can to vote on the first day of
Mm-hmm.
early voting, so that we can make a statement statewide that we are alert and that what's to come is even more of an indication of what happened in 2020. That
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
went out early voting is what put us over. Then it was the ballot, the absentee ballot as well. That combination of early voting and the absentee ballot, which is why those two provisions and privileges were attacked so vehemently and switched around. The pandemic, while it hurt in one way, certainly provided a
Mm-hmm.
tremendous entree and opportunity in another way to make it convenient for us to vote. And now they're trying to make that inconvenient, although it is.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
One of the things we want to do for those who don't make it that first day, for the
mhm.
first time in Newton County, we will have a Sunday
Mm-hmm.
day, Sunday open. We
Souls to
want
the poor.
everybody who hasn't voted to leave church
Right,
and go straight to the polls,
right.
because I was there when the election board voted on having Saturday and Sunday voting.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
It was not a popular
Nope.
fight, because people
It was
said things
necessary.
like, I don't think that we need Sunday. Well,
Mm.
fortunately, there were some folks who said, well, my son works in the film industry.
Yeah.
Sunday is the only day that's available for him.
Yep.
And so it was passed. Because it was passed,
Mm-hmm.
we
Because we
have to
spoke
make
on it.
sure that
Yep.
on that Sunday,
Yep.
we have people still dressed in their Sunday best,
That's it.
going straight to the polls,
That's right.
voting, and capturing that.
Mm-hmm. No, it's going to be. This is going to be record. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
estimates say that we may either meet or match the 5 million total voters in the state of Georgia during the last general election. So we certainly have a lot to do. And by the way, Brother Eddie, I did find out that we will have the resources to hire drivers and rent the vans.
Okay.
So we'll be able to do that, and we'll be able to on those various days. And I'll say this, and I know that I have very dear friends who do not believe this, but St. Paul is a polling place in name only right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we should have been opened as a precinct
Mm-hmm.
because we're right up, we abut and are right contiguous with a large African American community, and would have made it extremely convenient for them to just be able to walk to the polls. Now,
Mm-hmm.
folk had to find transportation. Well, guess what? Since they connived and schemed, so we are not a polling place. We are going to be a rolling place, and we're going to help
And
folks.
that's something that we are waiting to hear because through the Newton branch of the NAACP,
Mhm.
we also did a grant to partner with Black churches
Okay.
to be able to provide transportation
Yep.
throughout early voting and election day. So we're still waiting to hear about that. But
Right.
even if we don't get the money, we
Mhm.
have used the concept before. And I believe that churches are willing to put their vans out there,
Miss
to
Hillman.
get their drivers out there. Because when you think about what Newton County looks like,
Mhm.
right now we have a number of residents who work in the city of Atlanta.
Yep.
Well, if you work in the city of Atlanta
It's a lot of
and
drive.
you have an 8-hour work day,
That's
you
right.
have to add an hour and a half to 2
Mhm.
hours on both ends of
That's
that.
right.
That's right.
If you do that, then you can't take grandma to the polls
That's
at
right.
the end of the day because it's getting dark now.
Mhm.
Grandma can't go.
Can't do it.
You said we can't give them water or food, so we don't want grandma to have to stand in a long line.
That's
If
right.
we are able to provide that ongoing transportation, and especially if someone's providing the transportation from the church, grandma knows Mr. John.
Right.
And so when she leaves
She'll
her
feel
doctor's
safe going with him.
appointment on Tuesday at 10:30, Mr. John can take her over to
To the
vote
pole. That's right. Wait in the van.
because the line's not long at that point.
Right.
We water. She can go in and out and go home and get her own water.
Right.
So there are a lot of things that are being considered. We just need to get on board and make it happen. Whoops. Okay, they're calling me from my
All
other
right.
meeting.
I thought so. But you on a roll. Love you. God bless you. Thank you
You
Thank
so
you.
much.
too. Thank
Stay
you.
strong.
All
We
right.
got the
Thank
money
Okay,
you.
for
you
the
too.
van. We got the money for the van, so don't worry about that. Just let's talk later. We got it.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
God bless.
All right. Bye
Peace.
bye.
All right. Wow. What do you
Man.
think? Man.
uh,
Right.
it sounds like some things that's happening that I don't know about. It should know about. And well, you surprised me with the band thing. I'm excited about
Yeah.
that.
Yes, sir. I'm
How,
excited as well.
we're going to have to figure out what time we can operate and how many drivers we can get.
And we're going to have to get one of the magnetic labels that you could put on the side of a van. So even though it's not St. Paul's van, we can put St. Paul's name on it so that people know it's the church that's providing the
Okay.
transportation, so they feel safe and comfortable with riding with St. Paul.
Okay.
That'd be our way of
Sounds great. How
serving.
many vans we talking about?
We can get 3 or 4 vans if we want to. They said they will pay the driver, they will pay for the gas, and they will pay the rental fee for the vans.
Oh, okay.
What we need to do is negotiate with one of the companies because these fools will jack up the price just because they know that it's during the election cycle, which I think is unconscionable. But these greedy people when it comes to money. I'm gonna show you. I want to show the that documentary we were just talking about. the trailer, if you don't mind. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, let's show the trailer. Let me know if you can hear it.
Yeah. Is that? I'm not hearing that conversation.
Law enforcement is going to their houses and places of employment and making people afraid to go out and exercise.
Send all of these college kids to jail. Given a campus signed a controversy with election. That doesn't mean that you just probably charge against thousands of people that you don't even know and get them, removed off the rolls. So this is
Get out of my house now.
Well, there you have it. the that trailer of the movie. We hope the documentary. We hope to get our hands on. I hope that we get a chance to show that. I would even show it during Bible study. You better.
I
hear
mean,
that.
every time people should hear that. I mean, uh, your own governor. Well, we know that he counseled both sides before. Even when he ran for governor, he shouldn't even
Yeah,
been able to do what he did.
he's a crook, fraud. I mean, I won't. I'm not. It's my opinion. This is not the opinion of St. Paul AME Church. This is the opinion of Pastor Lewis E. Logan II and Brother Eddie Baker. And nothing expressed on struggle is real, the struggle continues is necessarily the express ideas, thoughts, or propositions of the membership of St. Paul AME Church.
Right.
But this platform, the struggle is real, the struggle continues, is a part of our work, and we are simply exercising our constitutional right to free speech. And we're just saying what we feel based on what we've seen in terms of voter suppression, and as the subject of voter suppression due to the defensiveness of those who we vote with, our Anglo-Saxon or European American sisters and brothers who feel threatened because their way of life, which has been a life of privilege, is being threatened, and they don't want to share resources, they don't want to share the wealth, they want to keep it to themselves, they want to keep power to themselves, and they're on the defensive, and they'll do anything to keep it. But what they're ultimately doing is destroying the democracy as it could be. They're ruining any credibility that this nation could have as being a beacon of democracy and ethics, and they're basically tanking the traditions that have been a part of the foundation of this nation to some degree, because some people came in with good intentions and others, of course, with very intentions, just to make money, just to exploit the bodies of others and to take advantage of the weak and infirm. But others came here for noble intentions, and the two are side by side. And we, Brother Eddie, have to, do our part, not against anybody, but for. We are for people to be able to thrive and live, raise their families in
Right.
viable communities, and live as human beings along with every other human being. It's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple.
But people need to have the knowledge of what's going on around them, so they'll know and how to react to it.
Yes, sir.
It's a lot of things going on around people don't know about.
That's right. That's right. So our objective is to be one avenue through which people can get that information and to be mobilized. I am very excited and proud not only to share this platform with you, sir, but also to be a part of this moment when we can make an impact, do our part to help make history happen.
Yes.
So with that, we're going to getting ready to go back down to the rest of the service this evening. But thank you for your patience, and I apologize for the inconvenience. We try to make these podcasts as we can during the week, especially within this very challenging season. Next week we'll have one of our other local Newton County leaders to come on and talk with us about the challenges of this day, and perhaps even connect to some part of our struggle, history, and legacy. Do you have any other reflections or what comes to mind that really stuck out in your mind, Brother Eddie, before we close out?
No, I'm excited to get started trying to get those people to register to vote and to vote. We don't have much time left for register to vote, but we do have some time. So, like Ms. Hillman was asking, ask 5 people around you. If everybody asks, we can get those votes there. Because I guarantee you, somebody around you is not registered to vote.
Somebody, 1 or 2, that can make a difference. 1 or 2 in several different locations and places around the state adds up.
Yes.
So thank you for that. Thank you for that. And so with that, I want to conclude this edition of The Struggle is Real.
And the struggle continues.
Absolutely. We'll see you on next time, Brother Eddie. Stay out of
yes,
trouble,
sir.
Okay?
Yes,
All right.
sir.
God bless. Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.